Brandon could not be more excited about today's episode 12, Monday Mindset. And today we are going to be taking to battle the two greatest words of 2020, hope and disappointment.
Oh, man.
Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Let's dive in. Welcome to another episode of the Monday Mindset. My name is Aaron, and
My
as
name
always,
is Brandon.
This is Brandon. We're excited to be with you today for another episode. This is episode 12. Super excited to be going again this January in the start of the new year. Brandon, it's no longer 2020. Not much has changed.
No.
Let's still talk about 2020. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Brandon, 2020 is where all hope went to die.
Yeah.
No, it's not that it's not that bad, but
I don't know. It's pretty bad.
all right. Have you seen Match.com? Have you seen their commercials where it's literally a match made in hell? Have you seen that?
Oh my gosh, yes. I know exactly
Where
what
it's
you're
like
talking about.
the devil, they're trying to portray and like use Match.com to find his relationship.
He
Find
matched
his
with 2020.
he matched with it, like they personified 2020.
Yeah.
I'm 2020. And it's like, oh my gosh, it was incredible. They got like
Everything's falling apart and they're so happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, incredible. Absolutely incredible. But seriously, what a year. We don't want to talk a whole lot about it. What we want to focus on today are the hopes and disappointment. Hope and disappointment. Those are two words we're going to be talking about. So I know, just like all of us, we had a lot of hopes that continually got crushed
Oh, yeah.
in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, crushed. And then that
Sure.
led to disappointment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's have some fun. What hopes went to die for you in 2020?
I was hoping to see NF in concert. Crushed.
Tell everybody again. Tell everybody your Christmas gifts
It was a
were.
Christmas gift.
Yeah, there was one
And-
more, right?
Yeah, Christmas gift, and then it got canceled, and then Justin Bieber birthday gift, it got canceled. So my hope was
Yeah.
crushed.
Oh, yeah.
And then even from like a church standpoint, man, I was hoping we would have tribal wars.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
my gosh,
Yes.
boom.
Yeah.
Hoping Halloween house party, boom,
Crushed.
boom, and gone.
Hey, what was crazy? Like,
Disney cruise. How did I? What am I? Oh my gosh.
that's the one thing.
Oh, I guess I tried to block it out. It hurt me that bad. I was like, it didn't
You buried
happen.
that
That's
one
not
deep.
real. Yeah, but yeah, crushed.
Oh, man.
2020 broke my heart.
It was every event.
And I'm serious. If it gets canceled again, I'm supposed to go May 1st.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on a borderline.
Yeah.
But they're looking to sell. I'm just throwing it out there. They're looking to sell like sooner. And apparently, the cruise ship is going to be like 30 or 50% capacity. That's it.
Come on. Could you imagine?
Come on now.
Could you imagine? There won't be no crowds anywhere.
I
It'd be
know.
incredible. Oh, gosh. The events, those hurt.
Oh yeah,
Those
they hurt.
in a bad way. I can connect. We'll kind of stay on the same topic there. There were, we were going to Disney
Yeah.
in spring break. And so I think, what was that? Yeah, last spring break. Wait, I can't even get it right. No.
Fall break.
We were going
Fall
fall break.
Yeah. 'Cause
Halloween-
I went when you were supposed to.
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
Brandon
yeah.
ends up going. It was incredible. Nobody was there, and we should have just kept it. Is what we kind of learned.
Yeah, that'd
is
been
that we
awesome.
should have, because there was nobody there.
No one.
But we kept thinking, like, you invest this money in it, and you're trying to plan far out, and you're like, I don't want to get stuck, and then you not be allowed to go, or whatever that may be.
And we had talked about it before in previous podcasts and videos. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out. But we talked about it. You love the fireworks so much that you were
Yes, that was the other thing. I was like, I don't want to go to Disney if it isn't going to be Disney. And there's no character meets. I'm like, what's my toddler going to do? For you and me, like, if it was just us going, oh, it'd be incredible. No lines
did
at
I
all.
just hear that me and you were going to Disney next
Could you
weekend?
imagine?
Is that what I
Could
just
you
heard?
imagine? Come on.
Monday Mindset at Disney.
Could you imagine?
Oh,
Mason, you're coming along.
Me, you, Bob Goff, because it's his office.
Going to Disneyland? That's where we're going.
Yeah. Nah, World.
Yeah,
But
much
figured
better.
I'd call him.
Anyways, that was one. Then this one, not a lot of people know this about me. We love Broadway. Love a good Broadway show. One of my favorite things ever. You would
didn't even know
never.
that.
Yeah, I like love it. Love
What's
it,
your
love it,
favorite
love
Broadway?
it. Les Mis, by
I've
far.
never heard of it. Oh.
Like I can't even Les Miserables or something like that.
Yeah,
The Miserables
yeah.
is what it ends up being translated.
Yeah.
One of my favorite. I can't even pronounce it. That doesn't mean I don't love it. Because I just call it Les
love it.
Mis.
Yeah.
Love it.
What about Hamilton? My niece
So-
loves Hamilton.
So this is where it gets horrible. We ended up buying season passes for the Aronoff in Cincinnati. It was supposed to start in November. We had some friends that were going with us at a party and said, hey, let's buy season tickets. You get 6 Broadway shows. It averaged out to be $35 a ticket.
Wow.
And guess what was happening in March? Hamilton. Hamilton was happening in March. And so what got us thinking was, we're really going, what it got us thinking was that the only way we can see Hamilton is if we get these tickets. Because if not, Hamilton will
Yeah.
go for $300, $350,
Yeah.
even $400 for upper level. So we're like, well, we see this offer. Hamilton's on it. You get to go. We're like, this is the route to go. $35 on average a ticket. And it was like $350 for my tickets for the whole thing.
How was Hamilton?
How was Hamilton? It's canceled till 2022. They moved it
So they
that far.
rescheduled it
They
then?
did reschedule it, but man, who knows
My
about
concert
that?
didn't.
Who
so-
knows about that? That's true. That's No, our
Nah, it's
first show is
heartbreaking.
supposed to be in November. I think our first show isn't until May. I mean, my heart's broken. Like I mean, you really want me to go there? Like the theater district and all that in New York City. Like, what are they doing? What are they going to do now? Like, the market is definitely there, but they just can't meet.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking.
I personally
Anyways.
didn't even know the market was there. I'm just kidding.
You know.
I'm kidding.
You know.
I used to be in drama.
Yeah.
People don't know that.
I didn't know that.
I was in Peter Pan. I was in
It's hilarious. I bet your mom has those
I was-
videos.
probably. I was in Peter Pan and I played football.
Oh,
and after like
gosh.
drama club
That's
practice,
incredible.
I would go to football practice and they would call me Tinkerbell.
That's hilarious.
And
That's hilarious.
But
It's a
yeah,
little
I
rough. That's a little rough, though.
it was.
Peter Pan. I'd love to go see that Broadway. I mean, I'd see it all. We got to see Lion King.
I've never
I mean,
I've seen
that was pretty cool.
like Broadway style shows on the cruise, but I've never went to like a Broadway show.
Phantom of the
Take that
Opera.
back. I did in New York one time.
Yeah.
I forgot.
What'd you see? Don't know.
Can't remember.
Yeah, I see. You don't even care.
No.
That's how much. That's how little you care about Broadway.
I went
It's
and saw
okay.
the Rockettes too.
Oh, the Rockettes Christmas show. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Bring a live camel out on stage, and it's incredible. I went and seen Annie at Broadway.
There you
That
go.
was one incredible. I mean, anyways, we're gonna be talking about hopes. Is what we're gonna be, Broadway, come on, baby, we need you back. But go ahead, comment below. What was your greatest disappointment in 2020? And we've just talked about some of the light stuff. 2020. I mean, you're talking about a year. You can get real deep and real dark real quick. I mean, you're talking about not seeing family, not seeing grandparents, not giving hugs and kisses. You know, you hoped every month. I think that was what was so fatiguing about 2020 and even the season we're in right now. We talk about it like it's gone. We're still in the same season, sadly. There's a fatigue that is taking place because every month, we even did it as a church. Oh, we're opening up this date.
Yeah.
Then things get worse. We're opening up now this date. Things get worse. And so it just continues on this progression of like, man, when are we going to get out of it? And you just don't know. You're hopeful and you keep hearing numbers and you keep hearing things happen. But really, you just continually be led to more disappointment.
Yeah.
Crazy. So we're still in it. We're still going to be disappointed. My Broadway shows keep getting pushed back. Your shows get canceled. I'm not going to say it because who knows, but I hope and pray you get to go to Disney on that cruise, man. I hope
Yeah.
so.
You were about to say that. Come on. Now.
I wasn't going to.
You said I'm not gonna say it. You were
So I'm
thinking
not going
it.
to say it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say
You
it.
were
though.
thinking it.
We're supposed to go to Disney in the fall, so I'm really hoping
You'll get
that
it.
that happens.
You'll get it. Yeah.
I hope I see the fireworks, though.
They're doing small fireworks now.
But, I mean, come on.
I'm saying like it's progress. Not bad,
Progress.
Tom.
Thank you. That's what I like to hear.
Come on.
Now, We're going to pose some questions here. This one's going to go, we're going to just have some fun and going to have some a little bit deeper conversations, probably what we normally have on Monday Mindset. But I think we're really at the point to where we can address some of this stuff and have this really good conversation here. Brandon, what if disappointment is a good thing? Let's ask that question. What if disappointment is a good thing? And I'm going to say this, an emotional signal that our hope was set on the wrong object.
Yeah.
And we aren't really talking about Broadway when we talk about that and even that, I mean, for some people with Disney cruises, you're like, some people, man, there are things that got canceled and things that got stopped or that are no longer happening that was everything to them.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that? Can disappointment be a good thing?
Yeah. And I think it is a good little checkup of what your hope's in. Because if your hope is in something that can be washed away, then you're going to the wrong things. And a lot of times we go to things to fill us up in the sense of to make us feel better. Oh man, this is gonna release this, and I'm gonna feel so much better, and it's gonna be fun, and that's cool for a season. But in reality, is going to the one who never changes, and knowing that your hope can be found in him, no matter the circumstances, no matter the highs and lows of life, knowing that hope is there because God always remains the same.
I'm really glad you kind of went that direction. We'll kind of hit on that some more. So we can kind of make some points here that really hope, this is something that's so true with hope, is that hope must attach itself to something or someone.
Yeah.
And really is to aim for a better future. So we're putting our hope in this thing or in this person, that things will get better or that the future will be bright or whatever it may be. But let's be honest. We can say that we put our hope in God. Yeah. We put our hope and trust in Jesus. But I don't know about you, man, but sometimes it feels like God has let me down a time or two. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think we can all connect in that point that whenever we say we put our hope in God, it's like, God, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, why did it go that way? Why did it happen this way? And I want to go back to like first century Jews. Why didn't first century Jews accept Jesus? Because Jesus didn't come in the way that they expected. Yeah. Whenever you talk about Roman order during that time, taxation was incredible. There was one guy, he had quoted that sometimes that the thought may even been that Roman taxation, so the taxes put on the Jewish people, was up to 80%. 80% of their income was taxed to Roman order. And it was taken care of and it was tracked. And basically from that point, if you couldn't pay taxes to Caesar, you were imprisoned, or if not, even worse, death could come. And so you see, but Jesus didn't come. He didn't say anything in the gospel about the taxes. Well, he just said one thing: give what to Caesar's is Caesar's. Give what to God is God. And that was what he did. But he didn't come and oppress it. He didn't come and try to relieve those people from that great oppression that was under. His kingdom was different.
Yeah.
And whenever we see God work in different ways than we interpret or we think, we become disappointed.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Yeah.
But he does. He comes in and works in different ways than what we could ever imagine.
For sure. And I remember, and I think it happens to every single one of us, especially like in our prayer life, that we pray for something that we want and we expect God to respond in a certain way because, hey, this is a good outcome. And I think that you have to flip your perspective from a good perspective to a God perspective. Mm-hmm. That while it may be good, God doesn't just settle for good. And while it may be great, God doesn't just settle for great. Mm-hmm. But God settles for God things that he sees best fit, and he knows our future. He knows our plans. And for me personally, I remember, I was a young age. I was 14. But I remember wondering how people I'd heard growing up, felt like God disappointed them and things. And I was like, what do you mean? And then I experienced it whenever my best friend passed away. I didn't expect it and felt like God let me down. I was disappointed and I had a lot of questions and I didn't understand it. But then flipping the script from a worldly perspective to a heavenly perspective and knowing that, hey, God still remains. God is still good. Mm-hmm. He's still in control. Yeah. And it's funny with I know we're a little bit into the new year now, but with New Year's, we talk about change. And last week we talked about rhythms and changing and resolutions and things
Yeah.
like that. A lot of times, I think we need to ask ourselves, do you really want to change? And the reason why is because if we're being real, we want God to change things to fit to us and not
Yeah.
God change us to fit to his plan.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it may seem like disappointment and we may seem disappointed, but it's because our hope's in the wrong thing.
Right. Absolutely. And we can even talk like from our family, like a family standpoint. Like 2020 didn't make sense in a lot of ways. From friendship points, it's like, this don't make any sense, God. But what we find throughout this times is that even whenever we feel like our hope is in these other things and we feel disappointed for a time, over the course of the revelation, God begins to reveal himself in it. And you'd be like, oh, that's what you were doing. And sometimes there's just we don't get it.
Yeah.
But God does reveal himself. I do believe that. So what we need when we talk about hope, there's actually a verse, Romans 5:5. It says that what we all need is a hope that does not disappoint us. That's big time. But what kind of hope is that? What kind of hope is that? So whenever we start thinking, we got to compare that type of hope with our hope. Our hope is oftentimes wishful thinking,
Yeah.
a disillusionment of what we think things should be, and really we're not really looking at what reality. Like for me, our hope, sometimes wishful thinking, like, yeah, man, this virus to be gone next month. No, it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is not.
Yeah.
But it's so easy just to think that and
Yeah.
think, man, that's where my hope is. Yeah, we'll be out of this in a
No
month.
time. It's 2021 now.
Yeah, well, as soon as school goes
Yeah.
back, everybody will be good. You know, whatever it may be, we can put those things in so many different perspectives. And but there's wishful thinking. Sometimes it's positivity. We like to say, even at the church, the best is yet to come. Onward and upward. Onward and upward, just like sales. Every business wants it to be onward and upward, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times we say the best is yet to come, and then next week you end up getting sick or somebody in your family passes away, and you're thinking, but
Yeah.
the best was supposed to come.
Yeah.
But it's the perspective. It's an interpretation. Sometimes we get statistics and probability. We put that. I mean, how many times have we looked at even the COVID numbers?
Yeah.
And they're dropping. Oh, we're hopeful. And I was like,
Yeah.
disappointed again, right?
Yeah.
It just continually, these things happen. But we put our hope in a lot of things. Think about it. I'd say even right now, you make the connection, you put the hope in your job. Your job is what secures you financially. Your job is what propels you. You put your hope in maybe a new job. You put your hope in new kids, new families, new relationships, marriages, that this will bring you what you are looking for, that this will bring you the satisfaction or the joy or the peace. If only this will happen, then I will be. You can fit that in so many different things. But we're hopeful for a better future. God promises us that the best truly is yet to come, but a perspective and interpretation of it may not match. And so whenever we look at this Romans 5:5, a hope that does not disappoint us, what do you believe people, believers and non-believers, what do you think that is? I kind of listed a few things. What do you think believers are putting their hope in right now? Or non-believers, people, what do you think they're putting their hope in right now?
Yeah, I think that a lot of times that we put our hope, especially in this season, in like politicians and
Yes.
and while it may be good or whatever your stance is on it, like no matter what it is, we put all of our hope in a vaccine. That okay, this is out now, we're good. When in reality, hey, people are still being vaccinated, we're still locked up, we're still in like all these things, we're still in mask mandate, so on and so forth, and we put our hope in things that we see a lot of times, so I think that that's where a lot of it comes from, is hope in those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can talk about, we aren't trying to talk about the vaccine in any way, but there's this quote that we found, and it was from Boris Johnson. It was the UK Prime Minister. And he said, this could, and he was talking about the vaccine that they were working on there, this could, I stress, could be the salvation for humanity. And I'm not knocking the Prime Minister. I'm not hitting the quote in any way. I'm just saying that this is a reality that people truly believe and people truly feel. And I'm not saying that vaccines are wrong. I'm not saying that these treatments are bad in any scenario. But what I am saying is wrong is that our salvation, is that our hope whenever we begin to put it into these things that are of this world,
Yeah.
man, we just get left high and dry. We get left disappointed. We get left unsatisfied, unfulfilled. You take a vaccine. Right now, you say 90 days, you're protected.
Yeah.
90 days. You got 90 days of hope. Is that what you really believe? Is that really where it all is? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it will run out. And I think that's the point where you start looking at all these things of the world. If that's where our hope is, eventually, man, it runs out.
Yeah.
Eventually, it'll stop.
Yeah. And I think that's one of those things where we know at the end of the day, even going through life, that the world will fade. The people in your life, the things will fade.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like I was talking about earlier, that a lot of times we go to things that will fill us up, but oftentimes leave us empty, instead of going to the one who will fulfill us and just constantly be there for us. And it's one of those things, we must go to the one. If we really want true hope, we go to a heavenly hope. We go to a heavenly perspective of one who will never let us down.
Yeah.
He will never let us down. It doesn't mean that we're going to understand everything. It doesn't mean that we're going to get everything. But whenever I think about it, and if I were to ask you, do you want a God that is on the same playing field as you? Do you want to know everything that he knows?
Right.
Do you? And it's like, oh man, I know myself, and I hope God's a lot smarter than me.
Right.
So it's like, man,
Yeah.
sometimes I just have to put my faith and trust in him, and
Yeah.
know that he, and that my hope
Yes.
is in him, that he holds my future, and not in these things that will fade away.
And that, man, the greatest thing, I was reading this past week, they were saying our recommunion with God is putting our faith and trust in him. Like essentially what we're saying, whenever we say we are a believer, we are putting our faith and our trust that Jesus is who he says he is.
Exactly.
And then we live our lives in a relationship with Jesus, with God, that is a continual progression of trust. You and Abby got married. Whenever me and Emily got married, whenever we're talking about a marriage relationship, a lot of times it's just built on lust and, other egos or whatever get in the way, and then divorce tears it away because it's not rooted. It's like, is your relationship built on this trust?
Exactly.
I trust you. I trust Emily in all things. I love her because, and I serve her, all these different things. Because I trust her, you end up with this deeper sense of love and understanding.
Yeah.
And God really wants to bring us into this relationship of trust.
And I love what you were saying there, that like even using the marriage analogy, that things will come in and it wipes it out because it's not rooted in. And I think that a lot of times, if you're 2020, if you were on the outside looking in and you think to yourself, man, was everything, all my hope, was it all destroyed? If so, you don't have the right foundation. You go to Matthew 7, and it talks about your foundation, the man who builds his house upon the rock and the sand.
Yeah.
And the storms will come. They will.
Yeah.
No matter what, they're going to come. But what's your foundation? What are you building your life off of? Is your hope, are you building your life off of the firm foundation, or one that whenever something like 2020 comes along, whenever something happens in 2021, because I promise you, something will happen. Something will happen. What are you standing on? Is it things that will wash away, or is it a firm foundation?
Yeah. John Mark Comer, he made this quote. He calls the scriptural definition of hope is the expectation of the coming good based on the person and promises of God. He said his promises point us to a future hope, but also point us to the present hope, and that is his presence. And I love that this has really been working to me. And whenever we start talking about, next steps for this episode, we talked about why are you disappointed? I think the reason we all become disappointed, and it's not that it can be avoided in a lot of cases, but a lot of times our hope is just rooted in things that never should be. And when we become disappointed, it's like God allows that disappointment to point us back to him. And really what God has been working in me is that his presence is here. Like his presence is with us. Like right now, God is with us. God is working right now. He's working alongside you. He's got you, He's in your life. He's going before you and waking the way. And all you have to do is continue to trust and to understand that he's with us. I love this verse, and this is really one of the biggest next steps for this episode. This comes from Joshua 1:9. It says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." This is a promise to Joshua. Yeah. This is the same promise that reigns true for us today. And we're talking about promises at church right now, man. I think what this comes down to, the hope is secure in the promises of God, both here, right now, but also in the eternal hope that we have in Jesus Christ, man. That's the hope. And it's going to be hard sometimes. It's going to let us down sometimes, but we can continue to be rooted and come back to that moment where he's like, man, my hope's in the wrong thing. And we can continue to have that perspective, especially now in 2020.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things to where, like you said, disappointment's going to happen. You can't really avoid that. But whenever those disappointments come, are you left completely hopeless in your life? Or do you know his promises? And even though this happened, God is still good. Yes. Even though this happened, God is still there. Even though this happened, God is still in control. Mm-hmm. And whenever you know that, you can't help but to have hope because you know he holds your future. You know who he is, so you know that the future is going to be good because God is good.
Absolutely.
And you're his child.
Yeah.
He's going to take care of you. I think that's so good.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Scripture brings all this out to us. We aren't basing this on our own words. This is Scripture, and we put our hope in that, man. We trust that God's word is what is the truth, and we hope today that we understand what 2020 look like, what 2021 may look like for you right now. But we just want to encourage you today to take that step of memorizing Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Live in that verse this week. Be reminded that even though disappointments may come, they're just revealing to ourselves that maybe we have our hope put into the wrong things. And let's put our hope in Jesus in 2021, man. I'm excited. But guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Monday Mindset. We love you. Have a great week.
See you.